Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the Electra R from a first-person point of view. The first ever SUV from Lotus, and it is fully electric. The base model Electra comes with 603 horsepower. It starts at $107,000. Does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds and has 373 miles of range. The one you and I care about is the Electra R. It makes 905 horsepower, dual motor, all-wheel drive, 2-speed gearbox, and does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. That starts at $145,000, but has some features and options that'll absolutely blow you away and make it worth the price. How cool is this? The Electra has active shutters in the front in order to actively cool the electric motors. Such a good-looking SUV, honestly. Reminds me of a Lamborghini Urus. All of the vents are functional. We've got a side air curtain there. We even have an almost pseudo S-duct that goes under and over the hood. Aerodynamically, it's pretty efficient, but looks-wise, it's absolutely gorgeous. All Electra models have 6-piston front brakes, although optional for $10,000 are 10-piston carbon ceramics. It also has optional 23-inch wheels, which are fitted here. The rear of the vehicle is gorgeous as well. We've got a massive carbon rear diffuser as well as functional vents on the sides. Now up top, we've got these 2 spoilers, which look really neat. We also have this LiDAR sensor. So this is one of 4 LiDAR sensors, 34 sensors throughout the vehicle. It's got 12 cameras and 18 radar sensors. Here's another LiDAR unit right here, and then one up there. Now, this essentially is going to allow for fully autonomous driving once the regulations allow for it. All they need to do is an over-the-air update, basically future-proofing the Electra R. How cool is this? When we shut the door in the Electra R, this 15.1-inch touchscreen will actually fold downwards. I think that's absolutely awesome. I think this looks so sleek, and we've got a matching passenger display right here for controlling Spotify, etc. We've got gorgeous, comfortable, supportive seats, a panoramic sunroof. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And the best sound system I've ever heard in any car. KEF speakers, very good home audio speakers, and they have the surround sound feature, spatial audio technology that makes it sound like music's coming from every single direction. The steering wheel fits great in your hands. We've got paddles, which of course, it doesn't change gears in the electric car. The left one is for brake regeneration. We can change the different varying levels of regen, which pop up right there. Using the paddle on the right-hand side, we can flick through 6 different driving modes. There's an off-road mode where you can change the air suspension to a super high setting. Then we can go into range mode that just uses the front electric motor to conserve battery and extend the range. We've got tour, sport, individual, obviously fully customizable, and the best mode, track mode. How cool is this? In track mode, we've got a G meter, a power meter, the speed, and your range. Over to the right, we've got cup holders, a bigger one and a smaller one. To release them, there's a little button in there. The drive controls to put it into drive or reverse. Then we also have hard controls for the climate. I think it's cool. When you lower the temperature, it illuminates in blue. And when you raise the temperature, the ambient lighting illuminates in red. Speaking of ambient lighting, if we click this button right here and go to light, there are a ton of different ambient light interior colors to choose from, which I think is awesome. Then we've got a really cool electrochromic glass roof. So if we go over to vehicle, we can change the transparency of the roof. So now you can't see at all. And then if we go ahead and make it transparent again, you can see the clouds. All right, guys, let's take this thing out for a drive. Behind the wheel of the Electra R now, and this thing is genuinely fantastic to drive. We're gonna start things out in track mode to make it interesting, and then we're gonna work our way into more comfortable and more economical options. We've got 48-volt active anti-roll bars, electronically controlled, that work in conjunction with the air suspension to provide virtually no body roll in a big SUV. I mean, this thing weighs 5,800 pounds. That's 1,000 pounds heavier than a Lamborghini Urus. But it also has 250 horsepower more than a Urus and would eat it for dead in a straight line, and conceivably, if it's not the Performante, around a track as well. I haven't seen too many track times or any sort of track performance figures in this car, but it's got the recipe to be the most fun EV SUV on the market, and I think it is, honestly. It's got really nice brakes, unlike the Model X Plaid that accelerates fast, but it really doesn't want to slow down. This has 6-piston front brakes and those optional carbon ceramic 10-piston front brakes to actually slow this thing down time and time again in a track scenario. Now, costing $10,000 is probably not an option I'd spend money on. I'd prefer to spec out the interior and the exterior, get some optional wheels, carbon fiber, etc. But if you do want to take this thing to the track with no brake fade, you can get those carbon ceramics. Now, there's not a ton of feedback in the steering wheel, but it's probably the most amount of feedback in the wheel for any EV. The steering weight is fantastic in track mode. It just feels confidence inspiring, and it feels like you could absolutely rip this thing through corners, which you can. It's very fast in a straight line. It decelerates fast, and its cornering ability is fantastic. Now, let's go ahead and flick it into a different driving mode. So right paddles, once again, control the driving modes. The left paddles control the brake regen. I'm in level 2 of 3 on the regen. When I put it into level 3, I feel like it slows the vehicle down almost too much for my liking, but that's obviously personal preference. All right, we're in track mode. Let's go into tour mode. So this is relaxing the suspension, using all the benefits of that air suspension to be a very comfortable ride. And even with 23-inch wheels, this thing rides over bumps exceptionally well. Also probably the most comfortable electric SUV that I've ever been in. So it's the most comfortable and the most fun to drive at the same time. That is a pretty impressive feat. And honestly, I think the interior quality and the design of this car feels worth every bit of its price tag. As cars get more and more expensive, sometimes you're left feeling, really? $170,000 for this? But with the Electra R, and even the entry-level Electra, for $107,000, you're getting the same interior as the faster one, as you do with pretty much every electric car. But this, the base interior and the high-end interior, are leagues above Tesla. I think they're better than Rivian, Lucid, etc. I'd take this interior over a Urus. I love the tilting display. I love the seamless, streamlined, integrated. It kind of looks like a McLaren 720S instrument cluster. I just think they did such a good job with this vehicle. Now we flick it into range mode. I think it's really awesome that we've got a mode that conserves battery. In the Tesla, there's chill mode, but it doesn't really tell you that it's doing anything different. This, it decouples the rear drivetrain, so it's only using the front motor to save on range and battery, which I think is pretty awesome. And then when you floor it, it does get up to speed quite nicely. So it's not like you're in some really limited nerfed mode. Let's go ahead and put it back into track and accelerate again. Now, one of the things I do notice, wow, that pulls, is that it kind of ramps up the acceleration more than a Tesla does. So when you floor it, it kind of accelerates like a naturally aspirated car that starts peaking at higher RPMs. It doesn't have that initial smack that some electric cars do, like a Rimac Nevera or a Tesla Plaid. I will say, I kind of wish that the software did have the torque hit instantly instead of ramping up, but I think it makes it a little bit more drivable, and especially for somebody who's not used to an electric car, it feels more like an internal combustion engine power curve than an electric vehicle, although it feels like it really depends on what speed you're going and how much the accelerator is currently pressed on how much it smacks you in the back. Now, obviously, it depends on what speed you're going. If you're going 150, it's not gonna hit as hard as 20, but it does seem like sometimes I hit the accelerator and it just leaps, like right there, and then other times it ramps up. It also has a 2-speed gearbox, which you can't really tell unless you're really thinking about it, but it does feel like it gets an extra set of legs at around 80 miles an hour, especially with a launch when you're really paying attention to the acceleration. You feel it, and it feels like it's about to lose steam at the 70 mile an hour, 80 mile an hour mark, and then it gets this surge again of power. I don't really know what the advantage of the 2-speed gearbox is. Obviously, Tesla's proved that you can go 200 miles an hour and do 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds with one continuous gear. But I think it's kind of cool that it has 2 speeds like the Taycan Turbo GT, just to add a little bit of drama to the mix. Now, I do wish, actually, that there was a mode that you could use these paddles to switch between the 2 gears, or maybe 4 gears. I think that would be a little bit more exciting, but still, I think it's a little bit better than just having 1 gear. But man, it's so easy to drive. It's so comfortable. It's confidence inspiring. It's got a whole bunch of active driver assistance systems that are going to be put into place. This is a EU spec car, so it doesn't have all of the self-driving features or lane keep assist, etc. But it'll be cool to see that stuff in the future, obviously with all of the over-the-air updates. That's becoming kind of a electric vehicle standard started by Tesla. But with all of those cameras all the way around, the 34 sensors, 12 cameras, 18 radar sensors, 4 LiDAR, it is going to be capable of fully autonomous driving, which will be fantastic. Man, I'm impressed. Graphics of the heads-up display, I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but they are absolutely phenomenal. And I can't say enough good things about this speaker system. It's unbelievable. There's some speaker systems that are good at one thing. They have good bass or they're really loud. This does everything. It's got really good clarity, it's really loud, it's got good bass, and the spatial audio is pretty cool. Man, this thing absolutely hauls under acceleration. I also like the fact that it doesn't have a launch control setup procedure. Other than turning traction control off, you don't have to floor the brake for a certain amount of time and floor the accelerator. You just come to a stop, and then it auto holds, and then you just smack the accelerator. And off we go. Yeah, that is a rocket ship. All right, guys, well, there you have it. I'm very impressed with the Lotus Electra R. Maybe a little bit of silent canyon carving to end this video.